thing that I really enjoy. And I think, I've done what I've felt is the right thing since the beginning, given it what it's want, and the car's rewarded me. And for that, I'm thankful. All right, howdy. Welcome back to the Addicted Boaters YouTube channel. My name is Troy, and this will be the first episode in a series I'm going to call How to Drive an Old Fill in the Blank. And in this episode, we're talking about an old 911. Now, it's not that old of a 911. We're talking about my 2005 997.1. So it's the first generation, first year of the 997 generation of Porsche, which started in 2005. So this is very much almost still a 996. I like to say that a lot. It's a car that I've owned since 2018. Bought it with 19,000 miles, has 32,000 miles on it now. Done a lot of things to it. I don't feature it so much on the channel anymore because no one really cares about it, because there's Land Rovers, which apparently are more interested. But I'm going to start out this video and run through quickly and do a drive of what I do to either maintain, drive, and own this car. And it's not so much a how-to as far as a culmination of just my small bit of knowledge on what it takes to keep the car alive, drive it in a manner that is friendly to the car, the powertrain, and everything about it, storing it, and pretty much, the daily or the weekly or yearly, ethos behind keeping something like this. So, jump in here. So this isn't a video that really kind of will go into, I'm looking to buy one. What do I do? We're past, at least in my relationship with this car, we're past the honeymoon stage. We're married. We've got kids. We're arguing. And we're just trying to, keep things on the up and up. So with that being said, she doesn't get driven that often. And she sits in the garage, surrounded by things with a car cover on it to prevent small hands and whatnot from getting on and into it. So what I did when I stored this car outside, I had a soft cover with a waterproof hard cover on top of it. And I recommend doing both, either indoor or outdoor, because if it's in a garage, people bump into it, brush into it, scratches paint. It's just simple insurance. Put a cover over it, it's fine. All right, so other things. Do I keep it on a trickle charger? Yes, keep it on a trickle charger in the garage. It keeps the battery maintained. And when these things get low on batteries, since it's a semi-modern car, they get weird. You'll get PASM errors and whatnot. It's cold. Again, I don't drive it that much, so the battery's fresh. It starts on the first turn of the key, and it's always a good idea. I'm using, this came with the car, the Porsche original genuine part Charge-O-Mat. There's part number on there too if you're interested, and it works great. Let's talk about other things I keep in the car. One is this Porsche branded leather cleaner. I got it when I bought it. It works well, and it kind of keeps the smell and everything new and fresh. The other being this no scratching my wheel lug remover that I leave with whoever it is that might be servicing the car, removing the wheels. It just prevents wheel scratching. It's like $17. No reason not to. All right, what do I have in the frunk? A lot of the Porsche factory stuff, but these are good as well. And actually, a detailer thanked me for keeping them in the car. They're little lifting pucks that go into the factory body mounts that make it easier and safer to lift the car without causing damage. Again, stuff I just keep in there. They're like $30 on eBay. Cheap insurance. They pay sometimes to not lift the car from one end to the other unless you're doing it all. So again, I never know if that's fact or fiction, but worth keeping in there, in the meantime. So, driving the car. That's what this video is about, right? I don't get to drive it that often. When I do, I drive it so it gets up to temp. I circulate all the fluids and I rev it out when I can. Things to take note, it's not great to let these cars just idle until they warm up. Start it up, let it idle for a little bit, and then go out and drive it. And the idea is to not rev it past 3K until things get, moved and shaken and all that fun stuff. All right, so before I start the car, it's dead cold. Turn the key to the right, one click, automatic oil measurement. Again, there's no dipstick, so we'll do that real quick. Oil level is perfect. And then carry on. Go ahead, start the car up. Everything's good. Always check for smoke coming out of the back. None. That's probably a good sign. And yeah, gonna let it warm up for a couple seconds and then take off. All right, so again, on startup, the car sounds pretty healthy. I haven't driven it in over a month. Maybe there's probably a little bit exhaust rattle here and there, but nothing too worrisome. You know, the exhaust tips, that's not smoke or anything coming out. It all looks good. I also always check under the car to make sure there's not any leaks or anything from the coolant passages or something that happened while I was out. So yes, I pay attention to the car. I look it over usually before I drive it. It's just those little things that can save you thousands of dollars if you're not paying attention and just take off. And notice that you're either low on oil, low on coolant, or have a low tire. All right, so we're getting ready to finish, to pull out here. And, you know, before we get into the rest of the video, you know, a lot of people ask, you know, should I buy this? Should I buy that? When I bought this, I did my research. I didn't get a DME or a Rev anything. I didn't get it scoped because at the time I thought I had enough money to cover the needed expenses, which would be, you know, IMS, a motor rebuild or something like that, since I got the car for fairly cheap. Since I am not so much in that financial position anymore, the thought of buying one of these, second gear is a little cold, without doing all that fairly expensive but needed PPI is quite daunting, and I don't and more power to you if you're in that boat right now. I kind of like that I went into it blind, and it seemed to have worked out so far. So, driving. Again, Michelin Pilot Sport 4S's. We'll take a little second to get some of the flat spots out for sitting, after sitting. Keeping the revs below 3. So we're going to drive it normally, not wail on it, and hopefully we'll get up to temp and get some good pulls in. And then at that point, you know, just drive it like a normal car. That does have sport mode and passive and stuff, so it's a decently optioned car. And, you know, I just try not to worry too much about it. You know, I don't nail any major potholes. I do use the different modes and sport modes and suspension settings to give them a little bit of workout once in a while. Same with the windows and all the buttons, just so nothing gets stuck or sticky. I feel like that does help. And then just kind of generally, you know, pay attention to things, because you can drive like a normal car, but as long as you're kind of, you know, cognizant of, you know, what the car's doing. My particular car doesn't like to go into first, even with the clutch in, unless I'm almost going negative miles an hour. So that's a thing. And my particular, at least my car, very notchy shifter, probably too notchy. I think those need to be, the gear linkages need to be adjusted at some point. And we're taking it out on the road. Again, car always feels great, planted, capable, normal car. Again, the beauty of a Porsche, it's a sports car when you want it to be, and when you don't, you can drive it like a Volkswagen. Another thing I find between gears, I don't know if it is a lighter flywheel or what, you know, you have to make your shifts fairly quick, or you won't catch the right RPMs, you know. I mean, heel toe downshifting is okay. I don't find it, at least the pedal configuration, as easy as, let's say, a BMW or some other vehicles. The upshifts, again, I kind of feel like I have to do it fairly quick, because the revs will drop and it won't be as smooth of a shift as I would like. So the car has now been on for about 10 minutes. I don't have the cold weather thermostat in it, and it still shows, you know, my oil temperature. It's up. It's going to move up now a little bit, but everything else, almost getting into the time where I can actually use it. All right, so we've got things warmed up a little better now. I've got the yellow solid bushinged motor mounts in it to give it a little more of a race car feel from out a daily driver. And you know, these on ramps and whatnot are a good spot to you know, wind it out a little bit. Drop it down into third and try not to get run over by traffic. If these guys stop playing car games here. Lots of grip, even in the wet. PS4S's, excellent tires. These are 5 years old. They have over 10,000 miles on them, and they still grip amazingly. Note, the car will understeer slightly under hard acceleration. Obviously, you can get into an oversteer situation if you drive it hard enough, but you know, the front end will, you know, plow a little bit if you're not expecting or not able to compensate for it, which is just kind of some of the handling dynamics of a 911. Needs a little more sound. All right, acquired. More 911. I can't see anything. All right. Probably say all right too much. Other things that I've read, don't know which true what the reasoning was, but when you're sitting in a light or sitting in traffic, is not to keep it in first gear with the clutch depressed. Keeping the clutch depressed for long periods of time is apparently not what these cars love. So when I am sitting in traffic or at a stop, I am clutch out in neutral. Other things that as far as how I prefer to drive it, when I do feel like being in a more sprightly mood, if I put the sport button on, I take off the sport suspension. I like it a little bit softer with the throttle response elevated. And again, I live in an area with not so great roads, so that's my preference for driving characteristics. And in putting that sport mode, it does change the throttle dynamics and whatnot of the car. It does wake up. It does rev a little bit quicker, so you have to kind of match your shifting and driving style to meet it. It does something, which is nice, especially with a car that's wow, coming up on 20 years old. That's scary. And even then, I probably wasn't shifting fast enough. But still feels good. Other things to note, in a normal driving situation, I don't ever really take traction control off. It's one of those things that helps guide and aid your driving very subtly. My biggest eye-opener when I was on track and the instructor was informing me that, like, hey, do you feel the car working, i.e. saving you? And I said, no. He's like, well, it is. And like I said, it's not as intrusive, I think, as other systems. It's very subtle. It works well. And it's not a drift car, so I keep it on. But in the name of science, these engines like to rev, and they like to get revved out once in a while. They get clogged with carbon and other deposits for just driving at low RPMs for short trips. So they want to get heated up, they want to get revved out, and that's how you keep your IMS healthy and everything functioning as it should. Too many of these cars, including this one, died an early death due to short trips, lack of oil changes, and pretty much just lack of the old Italian tune-up. So, in the name of science, we'll give her some revs. So for the driving portion, again, the cars can sit. Keep it protected while it's sitting. Put it on a trickle charger. Check the fluids before you drive it. Let it get up to temp. Don't take the traction control off all that much. Rev it out. Drive it like a car. Keep it happy. And I think the car will reward you. I put 10,000 or so trouble-free miles on this car. It's probably my most reliable vehicle. Anything I've done has been purely preventative, and the car has treated me very well, not really as an investment, but just as a functioning, usable, thing that I really enjoy. And I think, I've done what I've felt is the right thing since the beginning, given it what it's won, and the car's rewarded me. And for that, I'm thankful. So other things that have led to what I feel is this pretty successful ownership experience. Again, I've done the brakes all around. They were old, they needed refreshing. They were fine, but they were just kind of, I wouldn't say worn out, but they were original and just did not have the same consistency and grip that I wanted. I also have the brake fluid replaced, obviously for safety reasons. Having the tires replaced, having the correct speed rated tires. Again, Michelin PS4S's, they're awesome. They last. They're good. They're worth the money, I think is what I'm basically trying to say. Black car, Porsche paint, usually pretty soft, hard to keep and maintain a good shine on it. I'm not really a paint guy. I don't care that much. I did have it ceramic coated just for peace of mind. He put the badge on a little wonky, so I'll have to fix that or bring it back. But other than that, just monitoring the car, checking the fluids, checking the exhaust, listening to it. I know this all sounds a little bit anal, but it's kind of the fun, I guess, of maintaining something that is always, to me, needing to be functional and do the Porsche thing. I don't want a Porsche that I can't drive hard or drive a long distance or be reliable. This needs to fit the bill of what it was designed for, and I'm going to try to keep it up to that spec. And, it does that. And I did a lot of research before I bought a car. And I don't do that now. I just buy crappy auction Land Rovers. I know that's a whole nother section. I don't know where you're getting this video from, but these are pretty bad too. But it all kind of ends up in the same thing. You can street park it. I couldn't do that. That's why I bought my house. It had a garage. I feel much better about the car. And it really does help keep all the rubber seals and the glass and everything in better condition. But I'm starting to drone, and hopefully I haven't bored you all the way up to this point. And that's been, I can do other videos as far as ownership costs, but that's not really what this is about. It's kind of just the driving things. What I do to try to keep the car in good driving condition without burning things out, because again, the car's almost 20 years old now. So hope you liked the video. Hope you found something useful in it. And if you like this, please like and subscribe. I got probably a dozen other Porsche themed videos as well as Land Rover and everything else. So hit the bell, do the YouTube stuff. Catch you in the next video. Thank you for watching. You did all that to drive your Porsche to go get some fun. You just want to drive your car. Yes, I did. I made the video because I wanted to get some fun. Sue me.